It's been 100 days since President Donald Trump returned to the White House after that convincing electoral win. But the period has been marked by dramatic policy changes through those sweeping executive orders, which included tariff hikes that have shaken up the global market. Research associate at UJ's Center for African Diplomacy and Leadership, Dr. Oscar van Heerden, joins us now. Oscar, I hope we fare a little bit better in our conversation. Thank you for your time, as always. Really do appreciate you being with us and your perspective. It was a blitz of executive orders, a flurry, 143, unprecedented in the first 100 days of any of his other predecessors. From your vantage point, I mean, I've mentioned some of the obvious ones. We've talked about immigration, talked about the tariffs and economic disruption, but also his focus on immigration. As you watch the space, maybe just talk to us about how you characterize his need to do so much in so little time.
Yeah, I think, it's what we would call Trump is the chief disruptor. I think the 100 days have been marred by mayhem and chaos all around, whether domestically or internationally. And you're right, a slew of executive orders. I think the need and the speed with which it's coming about is as if Trump knows that come the primaries 2 years from now, the electorate might have a different opinion about some of the promises that he has made, and he might very well lose the majority in the House, possibly in the Senate. And I think this is why he's pushing and wanting to rule by decree from the West Wing of the White House. As you know, the last 100 days, it's also when his henchmen, Elon Musk, Marco Rubio, and others have been working overtime. Elon responsible for the Department of Government Efficiency, firing lots of federal employees, just slashing and cutting, trying to save money because there's an argument, and has been for a long time, that the public service has been bloated. And of course, Elon not taking a lot of negativity and flack for that. As you say, the immigration issue, tens of thousands of people have been taken back, deported across the border to home countries. And then, of course, the controversial one, which is these alleged gang members that are being taken to a prison facility and so on. So just general mayhem and chaos, the domestic economic losses, of course, because of his tariffs. That was not a well thought out plan, and the significant losses on the New York Stock Exchange and the bond market. Yeah. And hence the backpedaling on that front. And then, of course, the shutting down of US aid with various programs internationally suffering the consequences.
Okay, we obviously have our own interest in how this affects us, Dr. van Heerden. But let's talk about how Americans are responding to this. Over 200 lawsuits have been filed against the Trump administration, just on various issues. We've also seen rallies, people pushing back on some of the things that he's done. I believe some of the approval ratings as well. His approvals, depending on who you ask, have either gone up or down. What's your consensus view, or what's your view on how Americans, across the political divide, because there is one, are responding to his first 100 days?
Look, the truth of the matter is that Trump, even though he won the popular vote, he won the Electoral College, of course, as well as all the contested swing states, he still won with a slight majority. It's not a huge majority that Trump won by. And I think what we are seeing is a lot of those that did not vote for him coming out on the streets. Of course, some of the federal employees that we spoke about that have now lost their jobs. So he's upset a lot of people, and that's the sort of pushback that we are getting. But I suspect, given the fact that it's only been 100 days, it's mostly from those who have not voted Trump. Those that did vote Trump are the ones, as you say, are the ones that are still giving him the approval ratings because they feel 100 days is simply not enough to already judge him in terms of the promises that he has made. So I think that at the moment he's sitting pretty okay. He still has the support. The approval ratings, obviously, is dipping, as you say. But I don't think Trump is bothered by that. He's not one. He's not in it for popularity. He wants to do what needs to be done. And at the moment, in his mind, it's about saving money so that he can spend more dollars on the average American, according to him. We'll have to wait and see whether that is actually what is going to happen.
All right, maybe then to bring our attention back, and I know we've been robbed a little bit of our time, Dr. Oscar van Heerden, but you talked about the impacts of aid, aid cuts and funding cuts to South Africa, the HIV/AIDS programs, PEPFAR, USAID cuts, that $323 million cut to health is also under review. We've got a direct aid halt because he suspended this to South Africa because of the Expropriation Act and so on. There's so many different levels to this, including the diplomatic strain, which Pretoria is firm and holding the line on, and also their boycott of essentially the G20 later this year by the president himself not coming. Again, just sum up for us just the highlights then of the impact both diplomatically and practically for South Africa.
Yeah, look, I mean, America, whether we like Trump or not, it's the strongest economy. It's the #1 economy in the world. Obviously, South Africa would want to stabilize and normalize relations with Washington, both politically, but also in terms of trade. It's an important partner. I suspect, Iman, because of the position that South Africa took, nothing to do with how we treat the Afrikaners, nothing to do with our domestic laws around expropriation. This is all window dressing and a camouflage, a distraction. The reason why South Africa is in the dark box with the Trump administration is because South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice for the charges of genocide. And this is really at the heart of the acrimony that exists between Washington and Pretoria. I think that the Ramaphosa administration is going to continue to try and smooth things over, to try and obviously get a better trade deal with the United States. But I suspect, Iman, that Trump is going to double down. There is going to be sanctions imposed against South Africa and individuals in the governing party and in government. And I do think South Africa is going to be withdrawn from the AGOA trade agreement come September. So there's stormy waters and a bumpy ride ahead. We must also remember on the international front, Trump has also over the last 100 days shown his hand that he is fully supportive of Prime Minister Netanyahu and his government in Israel, regardless of the mass murder and the genocide that's happening in Gaza, perpetrated by Netanyahu's government. So it's going to be a very difficult path forward for South Africa, but South Africa will have to find ways and means of trying to build a bridge between South Africa and the US.
And scaffolds the South-South collaboration and looking for new partners globally, and also strengthening and scaffolding BRICS, I guess. So these next couple of months, and indeed, as you say, the 2 years till that primary, are going to be very interesting for us to watch as a country, and we will do it with your assistance as well. Thank you very much, UJ Center for African Diplomacy and Leadership, Dr. Oscar van Heerden.